Thumbs up, guys. Welcome to the Camo Chef. Today we are going to make leg of lamb on the campfire. We're at our camp today. We're going to be around for a few hours doing some spring cleanup. So what better time to have spring lamb than in the spring. So here we are at camp. We have our fire already going, as you can see by the smoke coming in my face, but luckily it's keeping the mosquitoes away, so I'm happy with that. Pardon my squinting. We have a nice bed of coals going right now, and as you can see we have a tripod here. You could use green small live trees about 1 inch to 2 inches thick, lash them together and make a tripod. I tend to cook quite frequently on a tripod at camp, so I've decided to use rebar. I have 3 sections of 5-foot rebar lashed together with a wire, and they will be used as a tripod, but I can reuse them all the time by just storing them in our woodshed out of the way when not in use. It works well, it's sturdy, it's slim, it's fire resistant, and it's reusable and sustainable, so I'm not cutting branches down all the time around camp looking for those perfect straight trees before they grow up. If you were camping in another area and you wanted to do that, go bushcraft and lash trees together, but this is more sustainable and more reusable. So here's our leg of lamb. Our leg of lamb has been marinating for nearly 5 hours now. I started this at home. It's 1 part lemon juice, 2 parts olive oil, 4 cloves of garlic in the marinade, as well as oregano and parsley and salt. This leg of lamb cost around up to $40, maybe more. So we're gonna enjoy it as much as we can. Surely with all of us here today, most of it will be gone, and the leftovers surely won't be wasted. We'll freeze those up as well. And vacuum seal them, use them on another day. The goal with the lamb is low and slow. So that's why we're using a tripod and not a grill. The lamb is gonna sit for about 4.5 to 5 hours on the fire today. We're going to slowly feed the fire. It's going to be suspended on the tripod at where I can hold my hand for about 7 to 10 seconds. We're looking for about a 300-degree fire or a bed of coals. This is the advantage of the sunken bathtub we have here at camp, is that we can have a fire at one end and rake the coals underneath on the other and control our cooking heat. So, how do I suspend this? Well, I've made a little rig here. This basket is what the lamb's going to go in. This basket is just a barbecue basket for vegetables to do up on your barbecue. I've lashed some chain to it, and this chain all comes together onto a hook. Actually, this chain came from a pot hanger, and I've recycled it. So that's going to hang there. This hook will attach to this chain. This chain attaches to the tripod by a carabiner at the top, and I can adjust the height by adjusting where I snap the chain on the carabiner. Let's get that set up first. We're just going to hang it off one of these hooks, and we'll start off at this height and we'll adjust it as we go. Next step is getting the lamb ready. I'm just going to put a sheet of foil down to set the lamb on so I don't contaminate it with the dirty wood I'm kneeling on. And I have some gloves in my pocket because I'm handling raw meat. And there's a nice lovely piece of lamb. I'm going to save that marinade for basting because the lamb will tend to dry out up top there. My next step for prepping the lamb is to coat it with mustard. My mustard today of choice is a Dijon mustard, and I might just have enough to do this. I'm just going to make a big plaster on here. Probably going to use what's left in this container. Probably good not to have oil on your hands when you try to open things. We're going to rub that in. This lamb is going to provide a good crust on it. It's going to provide extra flavor. One additional step I forgot to mention that I did on this lamb too is I took a knife and I stabbed about 6 holes in it, and then took garlic cloves and shoved them in the holes. Make sure you peel your garlic cloves first too. I'm going to get both sides of this lamb all rubbed up. And now for the very, very special part, a dry rub. Dry rub's going to give it a nice bark because you're basically kind of between a smoke and a bake at this temperature of about 300, 325. So this is going to give a nice bark layer on it when we slice into it. It's going to give a nice texture, and it's going to give it a very good flavor. My dry rub of choice today is the all-purpose barbecue rub seasoning maple mustard from Hades Coffee. Shout out to our sponsor, Hades. I will give you a I guess, a disclaimer or an opposite of a disclaimer. I bought this. This was not provided to us by our sponsor. Before we were sponsored, I was using Hades Coffee. I love their dry rub. This maple mustard dry rub is great on salmon, great on steaks. The other day we had hamburgers at home on the barbecue. I threw this in as a seasoning for the raw hamburger meat before I made the patties. This stuff is phenomenal. I highly recommend it. So I'm just going to dust this all over this lamb. So I have never used this on lamb. What's interesting about this dry rub is there's coffee in it. So when you open it, you smell the coffee. Now, my wife does not like coffee. She's a tea and hot chocolate girl, and that's fine, more coffee for me. But coffee here, the odor and aroma is here, but you don't taste the flavor of coffee in it with this dry rub. I don't understand how that happens, but it's kind of neat. So people who don't appreciate coffee still appreciate this flavor of this rub. So I'm just going to rub this everywhere. Oops, we need more. That is like angel dust just falling from the heavens. That's beautiful. Now, this goes in here. We try to get it balanced. I highly recommend you doing a little test like this, whatever setup you have. One of the times I did lamb here, I didn't have this basket set up. I thought it'd be smart and drilled a hole in the leg, a bone, and put an S-hook through it and everything else, but as it cooked, the lamb fell onto the grill below. And luckily I had a grill below. Today, I've already cooked the lamb on one of these, so I'm pretty confident that this system's going to work. But I always double check for balance to make sure, because it's an irregular shape, that it's sitting right so it cooks evenly. We're going to hang on to this foil because we want to tent it to retain the heat. This is a very thick cut of meat, so it's going to be getting heat from the bottom, but not on the top. So to avoid it being like raw on the top and you getting sick, you want it to cook evenly, you want it to have a steady temperature. The foil is going to help retain the heat and help the top cook as well. And here we go. So I'm looking for that 1, 2, 3. That's about 7 seconds there. So we're just going to keep coming back to the fire about every 20 minutes, a half hour today as we're puttering around camp doing cleanup. We're going to keep feeding it and putting coals underneath, and then adjusting the height of this chain by the temperature feeling we're having. Later today, closer to supper time, I'll put my thermometer in, make sure the lamb's at the right temperature, and we'll talk about that around supper time when I have my thermometer out. But for now, I know that feeling of heat around 7 to 10 seconds is what I'm looking for. It's been about 5.5 to 6 hours. The lamb's been slowly roasting at about 300 degrees, not 3,000, 300 degrees. It's been a long day at camp. We've been puttering away, getting some cleanup done for the spring. And we also had a really relaxing time by the fire. It was nice just to sit down and relax and enjoy the fire for a change. So like I said earlier, 300 degrees, holding it here for 7 to 10 seconds. We've maintained that temperature. You'll notice we also have some foil packets on the fire. These foil packets are, of course, Greek potatoes. They are quite delicious, and I found it very fitting to have Greek potatoes with lamb. So here we go, the big reveal. That's 6 hours of hard work of stoking the fire and sticking around camp, doing stuff, paid off. So you see a thermometer probe in there. It's a digital thermometer I have. It's a Thermo Pro. It's a remote thermometer that I can babysit stuff with. The pager goes off when it hits the temperature. It's right now at 79 degrees Celsius or 174 degrees Fahrenheit. It is apparently, according to the thermometer, at a medium to medium well. We shall see shortly. That's a nice medium rare in the core. Medium well to well done on the edges. You'll notice the layering too, where we have the bark from the mustard plaster that's been slowly smoking and warming up and cooking all day, and then just going down to the gradual layers of flavor. It's a beautiful day outdoors. We've had a lovely fire and a lovely day at camp, and we're about to dig in and have a really good supper, a well-deserving supper. Just remember one thing, get the fun outside.